This video will explain why separating schools and classrooms by gender will actually harm our students and continue discrimination. The purpose of public schools was to create a setting where citizens in a diverse democracy could learn the skills that they needed to meet their obligations to protect the rights of people. If we have segregated educational settings, no matter how well-intentioned, we cannot serve that purpose. First, we need to look at the history of the educational setting. In colonial America, women were subservient to men in the educational setting. Boys went to school to learn about obedience, respect for the rights of others, and to appreciate fair play. They also went to school and learned appropriate skills in literacy, natural science, history, and mathematics. However, it was not the same for girls. Schooling prepared girls for those domestic duties that they were expected to do at home. By the early 19th century, the belief of both men and women had some role in public life resulted in greater equality in schooling. Boys were going to grammar schools or schools beyond elementary school. They were learning how to become businessmen. They were surveying and teaching. However, stereotypes once again resulted in discrimination. Girls were tracked into programs preparing them to be teachers, nurses, secretaries, receptionists, and clerks. In 1972, due to activists linking educational gender discrimination to the larger civil rights movement, the Title IX of Educational Amendment Act was passed to ban discrimination on the basis of sex in any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Title IX provided the framework for ending gender discrimination. Women were receiving bachelor's degrees in studies such as engineering, agriculture, business, and physical science. Provisions were made with the Title IX legislation that have been applied most noticeably to athletes. Now, women receive 45% of funding available for sports. Now, after reviewing all of the challenges we had faced in the past and the great progress we have made with the Title IX legislation and gender equality in the classroom, we have to look at the new challenges that we face to ending discrimination. In 2004, the Department of Education issued a new regulation that permitted single-sex schools. In 2006, the department invited and encouraged school districts to create single-gender classes in schools. Over a decade ago, there were only 4 single-sex public schools in this country. Today, there are almost 100, and almost 400 that have single-sex classes, including a number of charter schools. There are issues with single-sex settings, however. Segregation based on gender or sexual identity equally carries negative messages to young people. In addition, it appears that, for boys at least, single-sex settings are more likely to produce aggressive behaviors. It reinforces gender stereotyping among students and teachers and even limits the range of socially acceptable ways of being male or female. So, what do we need to do to promote educational equality in the classroom? We need to promote an understanding among students about gender and sexual orientation and enforce bans against sexually based verbal or physical harassment. Lastly, we need to create and maintain educational policies and settings where gender discrimination is not tolerated. We need to create safe spaces where our young children can unlearn the prejudice of our past.